Hello everyone. I just want to take a moment to talk about a particular trauma releasing practice that is becoming quite popular, and I'm seeing a lot of demonstration and discussion around the use of shaking or tremoring. Some people refer to it as trauma releasing practices or trauma rupturing practices. And I often have clients that will come to me that have read about these kind of practices, maybe in alignment with Peter Levine's theory in regards to shaking and releasing trauma from the nervous system. I just want to flag here how important it is to understand that these are not practices that we simply just launch into from a dysregulated nervous system. And in fact, they can be really quite damaging if we do so. So if you have not had a lot of experience with working with your body, and in fact, if your body is something that you disconnect from and dissociate from, these kind of practices may not be appropriate for you to simply launch straight into. I'm not saying that that's a long-term thing, but certainly one of the most important things that we try and do with the nervous system is to create a sense of safety through resourcing. And this is very individualistic for the client. So we try and find particular resources that the client can draw on in those times of distress or intense feeling in the body, so that they can stabilize themselves enough to stay with that sensation, whatever it may be that's moving through the body. And often this form of resourcing comes more so in the subtle work, not the big work. So it's working with subtle sensation in the body, working with subtle breath, working with subtle movement. And often I find a lot of people come looking for the big stuff. You know, they want the big breath work and the big body movement. But we actually need to start with the subtle stuff first, and to be able to tolerate and feel comfortable with the subtle, so that we can draw on that as a safety resource to then feel comfortable enough and stable enough to move into some of the bigger practices like body trembling, shaking, and the like. If you have any questions around this, or if you've had an experience with trauma releasing techniques that have involved these full body shaking practices, and perhaps you didn't quite feel resourced, or maybe the instructor at the time didn't really prep you in terms of what was going to happen, I'd love to hear from you and your experience with this.